some paper today.
Yo, what is good? It's your boy B Moore, joined by my co-host Rustin Stewart. Welcome to another episode of the From New York to the Shop podcast. Russ, what's good, boy?
Yo, what up, B? I'm excited for this show, man.
Yeah, man, we got a special guest. We have Heath Norton, one of the owners of Title Boxing Gym in Maplewood, joining us. He's going to talk to us about entrepreneurship, fatherhood, marriage, all that kind of stuff. So excited about that show, man. But before we get to Heath, man, how you doing?
Everything's good down here in Miami, man. It's nice because the weather has finally broke. It's finally broke, B, and now I can sit outside, train my clients in the morning on Zoom and not be sweating my ass off because of the humidity so high. So it's a nice change, man. This is when I'm really going to enjoy living down here, man.
Yeah, I was in Florida last week. I was in Tampa for my birthday trip and had a good time, man. One thing I noticed about Florida, and I meant to say this because when I was in Miami, I meant to bring it up, but I forgot. Man, you all have some huge streets, man. You all have like 5-lane streets. Like it takes like 40 seconds to walk across the street because it's literally like 5 lanes. They're the biggest streets I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the stoplights are mad long, B. I'm
super
like,
long.
Damn, it seems like I've been waiting at this light forever.
Yeah. But you needed to cross across a 5-lane street, So I had a good time in Tampa. Actually headed to Atlanta, going to the ATL this week. So go out there, have some more fun, and yeah, man. Yeah, so just
ATL is a good spot, man. I like the ATL. I don't think I would want to live there. Sorry for all the people that listen to us in Atlanta, but it's a cool spot to visit, man. Tell us more about the Tampa trip, man. Was some of the highlights of the trip, man?
Just chilled, man. Just really just chilled, enjoyed the weather. Did a lot of working out, got back in the gym. The good thing about there is, the face mask there are recommended. You know what I'm saying? They are not strict on the face mask at all. So I was in the gym, and one of the reasons why I hadn't been to the gym back in Chicago is because that damn face mask. I just hate wearing the face mask inside the gym. It's just really restrictive and it's hard to breathe. So I've been working out outside. Even still, like yesterday, it was about 39 degrees. I went for a run a couple miles outside because I just hate working out with the face mask in the gym. I'm fine wearing it, but it's just working out. So I was in what?
But they haven't lifted that in Chicago gyms because even in New York, you can go and use a gym without having your mask on.
Nah, bro, you got to wear the face mask in the gym. It's crazy. You have to wear it, and it's so irritating to work out with a face mask on. Just worked out a lot and did some top golfing. I like golfing, so went and did some top golf and really just chilled out, man. Went to the beach out in Clearwater and just chilled, man. So
nice. Had
a great time, and hopefully I'll have more fun in Atlanta. Just kind of hanging out. I'm kind of jet setting on a American tour right now.
Nice.
So
that's
cool.
I wish I could have made it, man. But like we talked in the previous show, man, I went to the homecoming with the fellas, man, and that ticket to Kansas City was not cheap, man. They got to do something about that. Spending $636 on a round trip ticket to Kansas City is not something I like doing.
Russ, if it makes you feel a little bit better, I knew you weren't coming.
I would have came.
I knew you weren't coming.
I would have came if I didn't go to homecoming. That homecoming
shoulda,
trip really,
woulda, coulda.
Yeah,
I knew you weren't coming.
That homecoming trip was a little bit much, my man. I would have came. I was no problem coming, but I've been spending a lot of money, B, and I was like, yo, I need to chill. And the tickets out of Miami to Tampa, they were like $600, $700, man. I'm like, yo, I'm just going to keep this going back and forth to New York because that way I'm not spending my life savings on trying to get up to these places.
Right, I hear you. Well, look, this one thing I want to apologize to all our listeners last week, man, because I don't know what was going on with my microphone, man. I don't know if my microphone was not connected. It sounded like it just was not connected at all. I have no idea why. We normally are pretty good about doing our microphone checks, making sure the audio for the show is crystal clear. But it was not last week. It gave me flashbacks, man. People don't remember. People don't know it was the traumatic feelings that I've had about the audio for this show and the things that I've dealt with, because it took me back to last year when we first started the show, where we had a different audio issue every single week. Either a couple of times your mic wasn't working, a couple of times you weren't talking close enough to the mic. There were times where my mic was messed up and it was giving me static and all of that kind of stuff. And I literally spent like hours and hours and hours way too much of my life trying to fix the audio for this show. So last week gave me a flashback, and it was awful. So I apologize to the listeners for the bad audio on the show. It will not happen again.
Yeah, but don't beat yourself up too bad about it, B. Because back in the beginning, man, we was just trying to figure it out, and that's when you can look back and hopefully the people can look back and see the growth that we've made, man. So, this technology is not perfect. That's the problem with technology. When it's working, it's great, it's amazing. And then when it's not, it's a pain in the ass. So I'm sure all the listeners understand. To me, B, it really didn't sound that bad, to be honest.
It was bad. But anyway, moving on, because we got to get to our guests. But one thing, Russ, and we talked about this on the show a while back. I'm excited, man. November 9th, Tuesday, November 9th, Scottie Pippen, his book Unguarded, is finally being released. He had a lot of stuff to say about Michael Jordan. He had a lot of stuff to say about that Last Dance documentary. He was not happy about it. And he is talking even more. He did an article in GQ, and he talked about how he sat and he watched the Last Dance with his sons, and how he couldn't have been more disappointed. He said he couldn't believe it. And he said I quote, he said, "Over the next few weeks, I spoke to a number of my former teammates who each felt as disrespected as I did. How dare Michael treat us that way after everything we did for him and his precious brand. Michael Jordan would never have been Michael Jordan without me." And he goes on to name a host of players. And he says, "I'm not suggesting Michael wouldn't have been a superstar wherever he ended up. He was that spectacular, just that he relied on the success we attained as a team to propel him to a level of fame throughout the world no other athlete except for Muhammad Ali has reached in modern times." So Scottie is just throwing flame. He's adding gasoline to that fire, and he's promoting this book. And I'm really, really, really excited. So I will be getting that book, and hopefully we can get some sport. Maybe we can get Scoop Jackson back on the show. I don't know. Maybe we can get some kind of sports person to kind of who was there to kind of come and talk on the show. We'll see. But we have to get to our guest. I am so excited. We have Heath Norton, a friend of the show, co-owner of Title Boxing Gym Maplewood, and he is coming up next. All right, joining us next to the From New York to the Shop podcast. This is not only a friend of the show, but this is a friend of ours, man, longtime friend. This is somebody who's been on my radar. I've been wanting to have him on the show for minutes. I didn't tell him, but I've been wanting to have him on the show for a while. He's going to talk to us about Black entrepreneurship, about fatherhood, about being a husband. And like I said, not only is he a friend of ours, but he's been a friend of the show. A lot of you guys will remember we had a sponsorship with Title Boxing Gym Maplewood. This is the man who's behind that. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the podcast our brother, Heath Norton. Heath, H. Dot, what's good, man?
What's up, fellas? I just want to let the people know that I'm extremely honored to be on here with y'all, fellas, because I've been listening to the podcast. And you guys have had some really amazing guests, and I feel like you must have reached the bottom of the barrel. I was like, I said, these Negroes is running out of people to talk to. I said, when B Moore hit me up, I said, oh boy, I said, some slim pickings. I said, y'all done had Scoop on here, y'all done had some major guests, and I was like, well, I guess I'll jump on in, guys. Let the bench player jump in, get some shots up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, look, we happy to have you on, man. It's not the bottom of the barrel at all, man. Like I said, I've wanted you on the show, so
I appreciate it, and also for the listeners too, man. Like I want to make sure that they understand the depth of our relationship, because I consider y'all real brothers, and like not like in a just fraternal way, but just like in a real way. Like I've known Russ for 20 plus years. Let's see, some 30, 40. Oh yeah. Like 20
Definitely
plus, like 22, 23 years, like, which is a long time. I know it'd be more like 12, 13 years, and not just kind of passing, knowing somebody, but like a for real, deep, intimate friendship. And so it goes beyond a lot of what most of the friendships go.
Let me stop right there. You're not good with math because clearly I'm 40 years old. We knew each other when we were 18. We've known each other 22 years here.
That's also good. That's also a good point, right?
So you probably know Rustin about 37.
37. Because I like, Heath, I like to just say 5th grade, man. We've known each other since 5th grade. So let the people do the math because I'm not a math guy. So we've known each other since 5th grade. You met Brian when you was like 18, 19 years old.
Dang, you're right. You're right, B-More. You're right. I was way off with the numbers.
Yeah, we've known each other at least 20 years. Yeah. But look, let's get right into it.
Don't edit that either, B.
I'm not going. Hey, my new rule, man, is no more editing. I spend a lot of time on this show. Anything that I can do to not edit the show, unless it's an egregious mistake that I have to take out, very light editing on this show.
Right, so
so H. Dot, you and your business partner DeAndre Dukes currently own one title boxing gym located in Maplewood, right outside St. Louis. So before we get into the entrepreneurship aspect of the conversation, first of all, tell me, where does your love of fitness come from, and especially your love of boxing?
I would say that my love of fitness starts with athletics, right? Like, I mean, we were all athletic in high school, and I've had many battles with you guys on the basketball court, many battles. So it started there, in high school and middle school, playing sports, and just how I felt competing, and then also just how my body felt and responded. I felt like if I'm one of those people that if I don't move my body, then my mind doesn't work the same way, right? Like there's very much a connection for me. It runs more than just the aesthetics. It's like, okay, this is good for my mental health. This is good for my overall emotional well-being to stay fit and work out. So that's something that I think it's a lifelong thing for me. Like, I mean, we can't all have a six-pack like Russ. It's not going to happen for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's important so I can be active and move, and I perform better, with my family. I show up better with my friends, in my relationships when I work out. When it comes to boxing, I guess I would say I was late to boxing. I was always a casual fan of combat sports. Obviously we grew up with Mike Tyson and all those guys, but I didn't really get into it until I was probably in my late 20s. So I was somewhat late to boxing. But then I just kind of fell in love with the sport of combat just because the mental aspect of it, the training regimen of it, just the discipline that people have to compete at a high level. So that's kind of when I fell in love with combat sports.
Right. Now switching from the athletics and the physical side of it to the entrepreneur business side of it, what is one of the biggest challenges you faced in regards to being an entrepreneur? And conversely, what has been one of the biggest rewards?
I think the biggest challenge is people. At the end of the day, people run all your businesses, and make sure that the people that you have on your team are, you guys have the same goals, that you're aligned, that you're moving towards the same place, that they share in your vision, and they buy into that vision. And I mean, people are people though, so there's always going to be things that happen. I've got some. If we had a longer podcast, I'd tell you some of the crazy stories I've had of employees just doing some of the most outrageous things that you be like, they did what? Yeah, they did that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Do a show after dark with that.
Oh, that's for sure, Russ. Like, there's definitely an after dark edition of that for sure. But just I say people, just making sure that just you have good people, that you keep your people motivated, that you can tap into what drives them. At the end of the day, if you invest in people, I think that you'll be successful. So that's the hardest part. I think the biggest reward is also the people too, right? Like I have people that have been with me now for, 6, 7, 8 years that I've seen grow as, they come in at a certain level and they've just grown and developed and they making more money now. They're better trainers. They're better people because of being in our environment. So I think that the reward is the same thing, just seeing people grow, not only that work with you, but the clients that you serve. I've got clients that have been rocking with us for almost 10 years now. And they, hey, they tell me like, hey, you guys changed my life. It's a really weird thing. If you're in fitness, it's like, you don't expect for somebody to say that what you guys do changed my life. But I mean, I know Russ can attest to it as well too. Like when you train people, it's part physical, but a lot of it's mental and it's emotional and spiritual. And
Definitely.
you become their counselor, you become their mentor. Sometimes they come take a lot of different roles on. So it's a beautiful, blessed thing.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I know my fair share of those stories, Heath. So this last year, 2020, a lot of people had to pivot, right? They totally changed their careers and they had to do something that was going to benefit their family. You pivoted early on, like way before the pandemic, because, like we said in the introduction, I've known Heath. He's been a best friend of mine since 5th grade, but Heath was always kind of the business guy, so he went to business school at the University of Missouri, but then he went into the corporate world but then you did this switch and you got into the fitness world. And I was like, He's entering my world, while I was in New York. But I just want to tell the people on what made that switch happen with you, Heath.
Yeah. So I did. I entered Russ's world. Well, first of all, Russ is a way better trainer than me. That's just facts. I'm going to get it out there. For the people that want to know, if you want some training advice, go see that dude. I mean, I get you in shape, but he going to really, really, really get you in shape. So he's a better trainer than me. But at the core, I still am a business guy, right?
You're still a business guy. Yeah, you're still a business guy.
I'm a business guy, for sure. Yep. And it's funny how the world's kind of meshed. I feel like you've gone from just a fitness guy to more of a business guy as well, too, right?
Correct.
They're kind of coming together a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, so the business side of me is I'm always thinking about how to drive performance, how to drive numbers when it comes to revenue. Like, what can I do to change levers to get more sales when it comes to retail or personal training, or what can I do to kind of take us to the next level for us as a business? So I do a lot of goal setting for my team. I look at the marketing budget a lot. I have a weekly call with my top, I guess you could say, staff. I got a group of leaders at the gym that we meet weekly to see, okay, where we going, what do we need to tweak, what does the future hold? I tell people all the time, my job is to see the future, right? Their job is to execute the plan that we put out. And my job is to say, okay, in 6 months, in 12 months, 18 months, this is what the world's going to look like, and this is how we need to be prepared for it. So that's what I do. I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of reading, you know what I'm saying? Of not just fitness articles, but just business articles. Say, okay, what is the population demographics like? What is Gen Z into, right? Because I'm preparing for them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I do a lot of.
Okay, so you kind of answered it with Brian's question. You kind of went into it. I was going to tell you, stop. No, you answered my question. Slow down. But what's the most impactful change that you see in a person when they enter your gym? And this person probably does not have a fitness background, that's not in shape. Is there a physical change that you see in that person, maybe say after a month of training, or is it mental? But what is that impactful change that you see?
That's a great question, Russ. It's not physical at first for me. It's going to sound really ethereal, I guess you could say. But it's really a different light in their eye, right? It's how they approach the world. It's the confidence they have when they come into the gym. For people, we've always been into fitness, right? We've always been into working out. We've always been into maintaining how we look and feel. But for a lot of people, that's just not a part of their lifestyle, their routine. And for people that it's not a part of their lifestyle, when they come in and they quote unquote get it, before they come in, the first time there's an apprehension they have because it's new. It's going to be challenging for them. There's a lot of timidity they have when it comes to being in the gym. But then when they get it, they come in and they're confident. They're like, okay, I'm here for this, right? And this is my goal. I'm trying to do this. They embrace it in a very different way versus kind of there's like I said, the fear that they had before. So there's a confidence they have, I would say, that this new when they get that, when that light bulb clicks.
When it switches. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. With me, sure. And Brian has the next question. With me, it's the posture. They come in and their shoulders are down, but then after 4 weeks, 5 weeks of training, sometimes even sooner, that posture is up.
Yep, 100%. I think that's a direct reflection of how they feel on the inside, right? You know, if you think about people and how they move, body movement is, you can see how a person kind of is just on how they walk and how they interact. If they slumped over, some people walk in, they kind of hide themselves. Does that make sense physically?
Yep.
And that's a function of how they feel on the inside a lot of times. But if somebody walks in and they're confident, they're open, that means, okay, I feel good. I'm confident about where I am. You can see that.
Yep.
Right. Now, H. During a recent trip down to St. Louis, I had the opportunity to meet your wonderful staff and partake in a team building exercise with you guys. Well, we took a trip to a hot yoga studio, which was really dope. You know, so in your opinion, what makes a good boss, and how do you find ways to continuously motivate your employees, keep morale high, and get the best out of the people that you hire?
That's a good question, B. I think a good boss is, number one, somebody that's going to, you know, keep people accountable, right? Like, and not in a dictator type of way, but just, you know, okay, when I hire people, I let them know, like, my job is to get you to the next level of wherever you want to be, right? The reality is everybody that I hire, they're not going to be there forever, right? I have people that come in, work at the front desk. They're not going to be there forever. I understand that. But what can I impart upon you that's going to make you a better XYZ down the road, right? If I hire you as a trainer, how can I become a better trainer? How can I make you make more money? Be, you know, smarter in what you do. I think that those are things that a good boss does. They listen. Like, okay, well, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what you want to do. Let's see where you want to go. And then as far as, you know, keeping them accountable, people are motivated by different things. I learned that a long time ago. Like, some people I can offer them a ton of money, it may not move them, right? But if I say, okay, here's a pat on the back, or here's some public recognition, or here's something that's going to help your family, that may motivate them differently than money. So you're going to find out what drives people, but you can't do that until you have those conversations with people.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of lessons learned. And so speaking of lessons learned, what is the single most important thing that you've learned about running a business and being an entrepreneur? Like, if it's that one thing, like, you're like, well, yo, that's it. Like, I could tell you a lot of things, but if I had to give you this one gem, what would be that one thing that you would tell somebody, that one seed of knowledge that you'd impart to tell them about running a business?
Oh, that's a great question, man. I say be prepared for the journey. And everybody's journey is different. I think that, especially in America, we romanticize entrepreneurialism and success. And we see people, and I'm like Jay-Z is an immensely successful person, but his success is going to look different from somebody else's type of success, right? Like, there's a good chance I'll probably never become a billionaire, right? It's just it's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean I'm not successful. That doesn't mean that I'm not impactful. You know what I mean? So I would say that enjoy that journey. And the reality is, like, some people, it may not work out, but what are those lessons that you can get along the way? Like, the things I've learned in the past 10 years doing this, it's going to help me out down the road. Like, even if I'm not running the gym in 10 years or 5 years or next year, like, I could take these life lessons and use them someplace else. So I would say just really embrace that journey.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, Heath, my question is more about the class versus the individual workout, because title boxing, you guys really, go heavily on the classes. And if you could just tell the listeners, the benefits of people taking classes versus working out by themselves and versus working out with a trainer. Could you just kind of speak on?
Sure. I think it depends on the person and what their goals are. Generally speaking, our classes tend to be demographically wise, lean female. About 70% of our clientele is women. And I think women in general like group fitness. And I think it's more of a, maybe a comfortability type of thing. And that comfortability is not based upon what women do, but it's based upon what men do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also, Heath, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, sure.
Women like to hit things. I've noticed that.
They do. I would get to that next.
Okay.
I'll get to that next. But I think the gym, if you look at how the gym industry has been built, it's been built for men. Historically speaking, like it's
right.
A lot of gyms are just bro fest. Yeah. And women don't want to be around that. Like, and I get it. Like, if you're a woman, you want to come get your workout on. First of all, the setup is not very female friendly. It's a bunch of heavyweights. The music is usually not what you want to hear. It's a bunch of dudes kind of like lurking around, making weird eye contact with you. Like, it's just reality. And so a lot of women don't feel comfortable going to the gym. And I get it, because it's a bunch of bros there just broing out. And you're like, why am I even here though? So a lot of women feel more comfortable in a group class setting. You know what I'm saying? And then number two, they do like to hit things, Russ. And I think boxing provides them an opportunity, everybody, but especially women, an opportunity to be their true selves. Because our society sometimes will just I got two girls, right? So I'm leaning more and more into my to my women learning. So
girl dad right
I'm
here,
a girl
y'all.
dad.
Girl dad.
I'm a girl dad for sure. So I'm leaning more to that. And like, our society hasn't up until maybe now done a good job of telling women they can be strong, they can be powerful, they can be forceful, they can be all those things. And when they get on those bags, they're like, oh, I can do these things. Yo, let's do it.
Right. Definitely. So, Heath, like you mentioned, I'm a trainer. Everybody knows that. And I've worked in gyms my whole adult life, right? But the number one thing people complain about, in my experience, is the music that is being played in the gym.
Yes.
So my question is to you is, how do you address that with your staffs, with your members? Do you try to appease as many different members as possible about maybe playing the top 40? Or do you just be like, this is the music that we're going to play?
Yo, so here's the deal. We can have a whole other podcast on music in the gym and how it moves people. Like, for me, when I'm teaching my class, music is A1 important. Like,
me too. Right.
It's a big deal, right, fellas? Like, the right music has to. And I tell my trainers all the time, like, if the music is not moving people with your class, no matter how good it is, it's not gonna be great, because music has a way of tapping into something deeper for us. So for me, I'm not saying I'm a music curator, but I mean, I have a general sense of what people like in general.
Right.
So 85, 93, 70% of the time, I'm choosing music for what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We use different apps. But for the most part, we keep it up tempo for sure. I mean, it leans very hip hop. It does.
We all love hip hop, right?
Keep it a buck. Hip hop runs the world. It does.
Hip hop runs the world.
Absolutely.
It runs the world.
Absolutely.
So how many times have we all been working out, right? And we have the headphones on, and we wait till that beat drops to start doing the exercise.
Right.
No doubt. It's a big deal, man.
It's a big deal. It's a huge deal, man. So, yeah, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
Did you guys, with this whole pandemic and supporting Black businesses, did your gym see a increase in gym memberships during that time because everybody was wanting to buy Black, support Black businesses?
Let me say this. Let me figure out how to say this. We saw an increase of local support, and that was awesome.
Okay.
I don't know if this was because we were a Black-owned business, and I'm gonna take it a step further, and we're gonna get into a little bit of controversy, not controversy, but little murkier waters.
Right.
Well, we like controversy on the From New York to the Shop podcast.
Yeah, no doubt. For many years, and even right now, I don't advertise my business as being a Black-owned business. And when we first opened up, I was very conscious of not being upfront in my business because historically, the Midwest, St. Louis, it can be open, but there's also people that are not open. And I've had people not frequent my business because we are Black owned. I'll say that.
Right.
We had two operations at one point. We had another operation in Chesterfield, Missouri, further west St. Louis. And I'm not bagging on the city of Chesterfield. I ain't got no problems with Chesterfield. However, though, there was a drastic change in how our business was accepted in Chesterfield versus where we are right now. To the point where about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a Chamber of Commerce event at my gym. And I had a lady there. We were taking some pictures after the class. And the lady said, I was like, hey, let's take a picture. And she told me, she's like, I would never have my picture have my picture taken in this place.
Wow.
I said,
Wow.
word.
Wow. Did she give a reason?
she didn't give a reason, but it was one of them things that you kind of felt be more, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
oh, word?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's tough because I have to walk that line of making sure that we offer obviously we got a great business, but also people too. Everybody's not open minded.
Right.
Everybody's not have the same thought process of being inclusive.
Right.
So
And at the
it's
end
tough.
of the
It's a
day,
challenging thing.
yeah, and at the end of the day, even though it's a black owned business, money is green, right? So it's
Green,
about the
Right.
bottom
100%,
line. At the end of the day, it's about the bottom
100%.
line. So you have to be strategic in
Yes,
what it's going to do, what you're going to have to do in order to make the most money that you can and the most profit for your business. You know what I'm saying?
facts. 100%
That makes
B. That's
sense.
exactly what it is, bro. Like I can't sacrifice money coming to the bottom line, which we need, right? Because that money pays the bills, pays my employees, you know, feeds my family, because I'm trying to be out there as a black-owned business. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not pro-black. Like, here's the
Right.
deal. Like, when it comes to, if you talk to me, you'll know that my attorney is black, my accountant is black, my landscaper is black. You know what I'm saying? The people that do my real estate stuff for me, they're black. Like, I go out of my way to make sure I hire black professionals to do all the things in my business.
Right.
But I've never put myself out there as a black owned business in
I
St.
got you.
Louis. If I was maybe in Brooklyn or maybe Chicago, maybe, but
Right.
St. Louis it's a different story
Right.
sometimes.
So Heath, I totally, and you were there, and I'm not giving this woman any excuses, but I'm just going off of what I've heard over the years of when it comes to boxing. And a lot of women, they love the boxing and they want to hit stuff, but there's a lot of women out there that think it's a brutal sport, it's a caveman sport. So you didn't get that feeling from her not wanting to take a picture in the establishment. You got more of like,
Yeah.
it's a racial thing, right?
Yeah, and the reason I say that, Russ, is you're right. That's a great point. But the reason I say that is because we go out of our way to let people know that we're not a fight gym, right? We go
Right.
out of our way. We're not. There's never going to be any sparring done there. There's no people getting hit. We go out of our way to, and maybe that message wasn't conveyed to her. So you're right. I can't say 100% was going through her head, and maybe be through my own lens of how I interpret information. I could have interpreted it as a racial thing, and maybe it wasn't. So if it was, I apologize. But just knowing that area of town and just knowing,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and not everybody, but there's definitely a segment of the population out there that is not as inclusive in their thought process, but like that.
Right, right. So staying kind of in that same realm, same arena, Heath, and we've talked about this like off camera, but what are some of the ways that, we can increase the importance of exercise and eating healthy in the black community?
That's a great question. Um, it's challenging because fitness and wellness, there's a luxury to it, and it shouldn't be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the money side; it's the time side, it's
Yep.
the energy side, it's the access side, right? So those things, fitness becomes a luxury when it should be a necessity for people.
Right.
So
Right.
we've talked about this, Russ. Like, if you got a mother and she's working, she got two or three kids, and she got a job, and it's the time to work out is it's less time to do it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not time, because you do have to make sacrifices, right? For sure.
Right.
But the sacrifice is greater if you have less resources of time and energy and money. So we have to make sure that we make fitness accessible for people. And I think that the internet is a great way to do that, Russ, because it can bring amazing trainers like yourself into people's
Yeah.
homes where they don't need a bunch of equipment or a bunch of time. You can say, "Oh, okay, look, just give me 30 minutes.
Right.
Give me 30 minutes, and we can do something every day." Because we know how important if you just move for 30 minutes is for your life.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that the internet, if I had the money, if I had the money, my next startup would be a fitness and wellness business focused on people that are marginalized, and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." Nutrition as well too, because if you do that, you move the needle of health across America, right? If you could say, "Okay, we do these things," you change how America's health outcome looks. You change how pandemics look, right? COVID crushed people that were unhealthy. And if you look at it, those people that were unhealthy usually were marginalized people. Yep. So if you can change that needle, say it does the whole world better, it does all of America better if we can make people healthier, especially marginalized people, right?
I think that's a great point, Heath, and Brian has the next few questions. But, when I first started this virtual training, at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of my trainer friends were telling their clients to go out and get like a whole damn gym. And during that time, it was hard to find a dumbbell. And if you found that dumbbell, it was going to be $500. So I was able to, tell me what you have. And we work with that because it's all about what you said earlier, moving your body.
Yep. 100%.
Now, H-Dot, we have talked about a number of things in this podcast so far. We've talked about entrepreneurship. We've talked about health and wellness. But another thing we want to talk to you about is family. That's one of the most important things for anyone. So in addition to being a business owner, you're also a devoted husband to your wife, Mel, and a father to 2 beautiful twin daughters. So how do you balance running a business full time and being a husband and a father?
That's a good question. And it's not an easy balance, and it changes sometimes from day to day. I prioritize my family, right? Like, and I tell people this all the time to know me. Before my babies came, I wasn't the best husband. And when I say the best husband, I wasn't like stepping out there, nothing like that. But my energy and time was going to the gym. Like I don't have a problem working. Like that's just one of those things. Like I can work. Right. That doesn't bother me. So I would spend my time really building the business up, right, and not so much spending time with my wife. And then when the babies came, I had to make a switch because I was like, okay, it's more important for me to be present in their life, for them to see me, than for me to make a ton of money, right? Making money is important for sure. But if I look at how I want to build them up as people, me being around is the most important thing that I can do. So because of that, 5 days a week I take my babies just to daycare, and 4 days a week I pick them up from daycare. I'm home 4 nights out the week, you know what I'm saying, with them. Put them down, help put them down, dinner, bath time, all that stuff. We're together every weekend, you know what I mean? And I make that time. I sacrifice other things. So what that means is I get up and I work out at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, that's my time to work out. I got to work out, so I'm going to do it at 5:30 in the morning so I can get that done, so I can be available in the evening times to hang out with my babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not check in as much with my buddies, and that doesn't mean they're not important to me. It just means that, okay, for this space in my life, I'm going to spend time with my baby. Because the reality is my babies are 3 right now. They'll be 13 in no time. And they're not going to hang out. They're not going to hang out with me. You know what I'm saying? Right, like they're not going to hang out with old dad. Like I'm gonna be that crazy dad talking crazy to them. But right now they can't. They have to hang out with me. So I'm gonna spend this time with them right now. And that's all I got.
And Heath, keep it 100 for all the guys out there that are married. You did not want to be in the doghouse with Mel because she was going to be like, you ain't going to be leaving me alone with these babies.
No, that for the married fellas out there, and for the single guys, just so you know, if you ever with a woman, the doghouse it's not a good place to be. Fellas.
It's not where you want to be.
It's not. You don't want that smoke, man. My wife is beautiful, and she's strong-willed, and she will impart her will.
I like how you put that.
Perfect segue. Because here on the From New York to the Shy podcast, we love talking about relationships.
Oh boy.
So, if you will,
time out. Hold on. It's crazy being a married dude talking to 2 single cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, and 2 single cats that I know. I know y'all well.
The halo's over our heads, right?
2 single cats that I know, ladies out there. I know these dudes well. All the stories. You know what I'm saying? I'm a boy. Hit me up on my Instagram if you want some Russ and Be More stories. I'll let you know.
Man, hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Be More sweating. Russ sweating. Is it hot?
Yo,
Wait,
it's hot. It got hot in here,
man. Man, let's get back on track. You trying to derail us? All right. So, if you will,
Yeah.
H. Dot, as a married man, please give us a few tips on what it takes to develop and sustain and maintain a successful marriage.
My wife
If you had to give us three
Yeah.
nuggets of wisdom, because I know it's a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if
My
you
wife
had
and I
to give
chat about
us,
this all the time because it's like, man, like we've been married for 10 years now, right? And
Yeah.
like I still don't feel like I'm confident enough to get somebody advice on, because I mean I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it be, if you married, you know, it be day to day sometimes, like, you know what, this may not work, you know what I'm saying?
But
you know, that's real.
But Heath,
real.
real talk. But that's what people want to hear. We want to hear the realness.
Like,
and
that's
I,
real.
and I
You be
have to,
like, nah.
I have to give you your props now because you've always kept it real with me and our other friends about how hard marriage can be. You know?
It's not easy. Like people be like, oh, you just got to do yada yada yada. Man, miss me with that, bro. Like marriage is hard work. Like for real. Like you have to really dig deep into yourself. And for me, I spend a lot of time. I should spend more time. I spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, man, did I approach that the right way? Did I say that the right way? Am I being as compassionate, you know what I'm saying, and understanding as I can be? And sometimes you don't. I mean, here's a little tidbit for you guys. I can kind of be an asshole. That's just real.
What?
So yeah,
No.
I know. I know.
What?
No.
No.
I know.
Not you.
You?
Never. So, so I can be kind of a jerk sometimes. So she would say something, and I'll say some ridiculous stuff back to her. Like, for example, we first got married, and she was talking about something, man. And I just left the room, and she got mad. She said, "Why'd you leave the room?" And I said, "Well, you want to talk about nothing." You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't a good thing to do if you're married.
Right.
So
Right.
just learning stuff like that. So 3 tidbits for you, be more. I would say, listen, like really listen, and listen without trying to respond. Does that make sense? Don't listen to make a response. Just listen and just like, okay, I'm gonna listen to what she got to say and just soak it up. Just okay, I'm gonna just let this, run all over me and see what happens with her words. So listen. Number 2, I would say is to talk to a professional. Like it's nothing wrong with having a professional or a counselor. We've talked to marriage counselors.
Good tip.
Because it's hard. You don't know how to navigate this by yourself. And for us, the last one is to have a faith background. You know what I'm saying? Like for us, like, okay, how do we center our life, right? For us, it has to be centered on God, and everything else falls in around that. So our life is focused on that. Everything else falls in around that.
Great tips. Thank you so much for that, H. Dot. We gonna take you off the hot seat. We gonna take you off the hot seat. You did very well. All right. So, lastly, this is the last question. It's the last question, and once again, thank you so much for your time and being so generous. We appreciate the love.
Appreciate y'all.
Well, second to last. I have one after Brian goes. Second to last.
Okay. Now, on one of the very first, and you know what, man, I did you a solid. I did you a solid,
here
H.
we
Dot.
go.
I did you a solid because I wanted you to come with something real on this because we had our big brother Scoop Jackson on the show, and I didn't even give Scoop a heads up because I asked him his top 5 MCs. Scoop came off the top of the dome with it. But I was like, it was a lot of flack. It was a lot of feedback going on our listserv talking about our top 5. So I was at the gym. I was working out. And it just hit me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this dude a solid.
You did. I appreciate it.
And I sent you a text.
You did.
And I said, have your top 5 MCs ready.
Yep.
Because I want to hear this.
Yep.
I want to hear this.
And I would take it to the next level. I got my top 5 MCs. And then, because I also had issue with y'all's basketball list too. You know what I'm saying? So I got my top 5 basketball players. Oh, it's coming, Russ, dog. So I got my top. For you two,
Me and
be more.
Heath have been arguing about this
because
since
Be More had a questionable list as well. So here we go. Both of you asked a questionable ass list. Here we go. All right.
So wait. So okay. So in honor of November being Hip Hop History Month.
All right.
Go ahead. This is Heath Norton's top 5 MCs.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And this is not in order of greatness. This is top 5. Number
wait,
1.
Wait. So it's not in order? That's not.
Oh, we can make it in order. We can do that too. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
I sent you an email. I sent you a text message to give you. I gave you a heads up.
Okay, B. All right. Number 1, Sean Carter.
Okay.
Number 2, Nas Jones. That's it. Number 3, Christopher Wallace.
I love how you're using everybody's government name.
Exactly.
Okay, so for the people who are not hip hop aficionados, the first one was Jay-Z.
Yeah.
The second one was Nas.
Yep.
And the third was Notorious Big.
Yeah,
all right, who else? Continue with the government names. I love it.
All right. Number 4 is gonna get. It's gonna get some. It might be some feedback. It's cool. I'm ready to accept it. Number 4 for me is T.I. That's my dude. Like I fool with T.I. hard. That's my guy. He's the originator of trap music. I love hard beats. I love strip club music. I do. I'm not gonna lie about it. I love trap music. T.I. number 4.
So Clifford Harris.
Harris.
Okay.
Clifford Harris, number 4. Number 5 is going to get a lot of flack. I can see it already, especially from people from Chicago because they low-key haters. Number 5, Earl Stevens.
Wow.
E40?
E40. I said
is it your top 5?
And I stand by it. Let me tell you why. Look at me. I told you. I stand by it. Let me tell you why. E40, for me to be a top MC, you have to have a classic album. For me, in a major way, it's a classic album. You have to have cultural influence. E40 has pretty much, he's the father of the Bay Area music. Am I lying there?
Yeah, you're lying. Too Short is the father of the Bay Area.
Co-father, okay. Stepfather.
No, Too Short was in the 80s, bro. I grew up listening to
Okay.
No.
Okay. Maybe he's not the father, but he's the one that took the Bay Area music to the next level. Okay? He's done amazing from a career-wise. He's still putting out music to this day, damn near 30 years later. He's influenced so many people. He's revered in hip-hop circles. He's making all type of money. And being in Kansas City, like you grew up on the Bay music. It's just what you do. So for me, I was listening to E40 when I was like 12, 13 years old. It's a big deal. That's my top 5. I don't hear any mess about it. It's my top 5.
All right, so just run that one more time for the people, because so uninterrupted. Run through your top 5 one more time, just
Jay-Z,
so the people.
Nas, Notorious Big, T.I., E40.
Okay, moving on to your top 5 basketball players.
Okay, top 5. But this is also gonna get some smoke from y'all, and I don't care.
Can you do me a favor, Heath?
Yeah.
And go from 5 to 1. I just like the drama behind it.
Ooh, 5. And actually, that's okay. I go 5 to 1.
Okay.
And I got mine by. So I did mine position wise, but it's still to me the top 5. Okay. Number 5, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
I'm not mad at that.
Okay. Right. Number 4, Timmy Duncan.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait. You know, I made a mistake.
Duncan is a beast.
I was thinking you was putting Kareem at number 1. Kareem's at number 5. So you got Tim Duncan over Kareem?
I do. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay.
Okay.
Number 3 is that point guard out in Golden State. That's Steph Curry, dude. He's to me, he's the best point guard of all time. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 is LeBron.
Okay.
And number 1 is Mike. It's got to be.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, it's amazing. Oh.
It's got to be
wow.
Mike. It's got to be Mike. It's got to be Mike.
I was worried.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, B More. You put that top 5 against anybody, they dust. Like who's going?
I'm so disappointed at your list.
Let me tell you why, B More. Let me tell you real quick. Number 5, Kareem. Obviously, he's one of the top players of all time. Obviously, defensive stalwart. If he played in today's game, he could shoot the jumper from outside. He could run the floor. He could rebound. He's good in any era, right?
Yeah, that unstoppable shot.
The hook shot. Who can stop a good shot? Nobody's stopping that.
Shot.
Number 4, Tim Duncan, all-time leader in all defensive first teams. 15 years. Mr. Fundamental. He grabbed boards, and he's a winner, bro. He's a winner. He won with just a questionable cast around him. I mean, Manu.
Kobe's nemesis.
Manu was a hooper, but he wasn't no killer. You know what I'm saying? Right? Am I lying?
I mean, yeah, you're right. Manu was a great 6-man. He was a great 6-man.
He didn't have he had David Robinson towards the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? Tim Duncan did a lot of heavy lifting.
I think also. Well,
no, he had David Robinson at the beginning of his career. Yeah.
No, I'm saying David Robinson was toward the end of his career. Of David
Robinson. Right. I got you.
He's thinking about players, but one Pop coaches. I mean, he's one of the best coaches.
No, for sure. Agreed.
Ever.
Pop is amazing.
So him working in that system of Pop.
Agreed. Now Steph Curry was a tough one because I like players who can play both sides, and Steph isn't a great defensive player, but Steph gets buckets on top of buckets on top of buckets on top of buckets.
I love Steph. I love Steph in your top 5. The only thing is I wouldn't say he's the best point guard ever. My all-time best point guard is always going to be Magic Johnson.
And this is some more controversy. Magic doesn't make my top 10.
Oh my God!
And let me tell you why. I know. I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you why Magic doesn't make my top 10. Magic's jumper, mad questionable. Mad questionable jumper. Magic was not on anybody's defensive top list. Magic played with Kareem and James Worthy and Michael Cooper. He played with some studs, and he was coached by Byron Scott, coached by Pat Riley. Like, he played with, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but does Magic get tick in today's game with that jumper and those handles that are kind of?
He didn't need a jumper. He was a facilitator. He was a facilitator
to some other All-Stars, and that's what I'm saying.
And Magic was a better defensive player than you thought, because I remember when we did these stats, he had a lot of I think he led the league in steals like 1 year or something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
He wasn't a bad defensive player, but he wasn't a stalwart, right?
I say Isaiah Thomas over Magic.
Ooh, man. I don't know about that.
I would not. I mean, 5 championships, bro. I would not take. If I had to pick one point guard to run my team, it would always be Magic Johnson.
Okay, I respect it.
I think he's the best passer the game has ever seen. I think he was the best passer a game has ever seen.
He might be. For me, if I'm building the team, if I'm gonna need to get buckets, right? If I build up a team that I'm gonna need to get some buckets from, I just don't know if I can count on Magic to give me a bucket on his own. I can't. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, Steph Curry's gonna get you buckets.
He did it to win his first championship as a rookie. Didn't he hit the little baby hook to win the championship?
I'm talking about consistent buckets, though.
What you mean? He did. You said one shot to win the game, and Magic gave you one shot to win the game.
I mean, consistent. Like, if I'm gonna need somebody to go put up 20,
you don't have to be
25.
consistent for one shot. Just one shot. You just got to hit that one shot. Okay. LeBron is not like a great shooter, but if you give me one shot, LeBron makes buckets at crucial times.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, Heath. Magic Johnson wasn't known to be like, okay, go get that bucket.
No, he's not gonna go get that bucket. No, he's just not. And I'm not. Once again, I'm a Magic fan. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, if I'm building my team to beat everybody, I think that team right there beats everybody. Personally, I don't. Who stops that team with Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph, Tim Duncan, and Kareem? I don't know who stops them.
Okay, Russ, you had a question to finish things.
I respect it. So, we're all black here. Mm-hmm. Black people love talking about our hair, and we're going to the barbershops and everything like that. So for the people that are watching us on YouTube, you can see that me and Heath have the same hairstyle, the locks. And Brian has started to grow his hair out to get the locks. So I just want to know from you, Heath, because it was a surprise when you started growing locks. And I was just like, what? Heath's growing locks? What? So what inspired you to grow your locks?
It was really, I was just growing it just to see what happened. It was honestly, a lot of it was like, okay, so we all here 40 plus, right? And unfortunately, as you get older, sometimes what happens is your hair doesn't grow, as some of our buddies know. I'm not going to call them out by names, but they know who we're talking about. They don't have any hair. I know, that's wrong. They don't. It's just facts. So the fact that I could keep growing my hair, I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep growing, because why not? Right? I might not have the chance again. You know what I'm saying? So I just started growing it out, and then COVID hit. And I was like, well, damn, like, I should do something with this. And I just kept growing it out. And I was like, well, what look am I going to go for? I was following Russ on social media, and like, he was getting his hair at the time. He was getting like braided. He was rocking the braids, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm cool enough for braids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even pull that off. You know what I mean? Russ got that whole, Brooklyn, Miami swag. I'm like, I don't think I got that. So the next best choice was to go with the lock. So I just started in December of 2019 was the first time I got my hair twisted up, and if you get your hair locked up, it's a journey. You know what I mean? You got to embrace it. You learn a lot about yourself. And good thing COVID was going on, so I could look crazy and nobody really cared. So, yeah, I love it, man. I love my hair. I love, just kind of the expression of it, what I can do with it. I mean, it's a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, Russ talked about this. It's not easy having a lot of hair. Be more so once you get there. Inexpensive, right? For sure. So, but yeah, so I did embrace that journey. It's just kind of for me. I'm like, okay, how can I just keep growing? And this, my hair was just an extension of that.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So H. Dot, before we get you out of here, we got a 20 questions segment that we always do. But before we get to that, we just want to give you some love, man, and support. So for the people who want to, we always at the end of our show, we always say for the people who want to support our show, how they can help us out. But for the people who want to support your business, the Title Boxing Gym in Maplewood, how can people support the business and tell us where to find it, where to find you, and all that kind of stuff, how to join, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that, fellas, for sure. I would say you can either go to our Instagram page, which is Title Boxing Maplewood, and hit us up, or you can hit me up on Instagram as Heath, Heath, Alex, Alex, the number 1, and I can get you whatever information you need. If you're in St. Louis or you want to pop in, we do a lot of virtual classes as well too. So we'd love to have you take part in that for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Russ, let's go ahead. Let's set the clock. So this is the way this works, because we've made some tweaks to this game. So you basically, Rustin sets his clock for 1 minute. We got 20 questions.
All right.
So you got to answer them as quickly as possible. No thinking about it, and we just see how many you can get through. So Russ, when you are ready, let me know.
All right. I'm gonna give. I know Heath by many nicknames, so I'm gonna call you The Rock, and it's not because of the wrestler The Rock. It's from Charles S. Dutton's show, The Rock. So when people before they give you all this credit, if you call you The Rock, calm down. All right. So I'm starting the clock. Rock. 3, 2, 1.
What's the first thing you do or think about when you wake up?
Pray.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Pizza or wings?
Pizza.
New York or LA?
New York.
Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather?
Oh, Muhammad Ali.
Pad work or heavy bag?
Heavy bag.
Name an entrepreneur that's inspired you.
E40.
Biggie or Jay-Z?
Ooh, God. Jay-Z.
If you could choose any superpower, what would it be?
See through people.
Name one characteristic that makes a good business owner.
Determination.
Choose one word to describe your management style.
Relaxed.
What sound do you hate?
Baby's crying.
What sound do you love?
Last question.
Baby's laughing.
That's it, Russ?
That's it.
Okay. All right. And the last one that we always do, if heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you walk through the pearly gates?
Ooh, wow. But how you gonna end on that deep ass existential question? Shit. That's some deep stuff.
That's Brian's question.
Golly, B more. That's a deep ass existential ass question, bro.
I didn't make the question. No, that's from the inside. I used to watch the Inside the Actor Studio. That's the question that James Lipton would always ask the actors. That's the very last question he would always ask.
What would you like to hear God say to you if there is a heaven?
If heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you walk through the pearly gates?
You made it, my guy. You know
right.
You here, baby.
Right.
Yep.
You here, right? You here. I'll take that all day, baby.
All right. Heath Norton, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Heath, thank you so much. We appreciate the love. Thank you so much for joining the show, man. All right. Thank you, Heath Norton, H. Dot. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciated you, all the wisdom that you have just given us, all those views that you just dropped, man. We really appreciate it. Russ, for people who enjoyed the interview, who enjoy our show and want to support us, what should they do?
Definitely should subscribe. Push that button, click that button, tell a friend, tell two, post it on your Instagram, post it on Twitter. Post it wherever you have social media. That was a really dope interview. Shout out to Heath Norton. You know, we go way back, like you heard in the interview. So yeah, man. But subscribe, man. Keep this show going.
And Russ, you're back on Instagram. You're also on Facebook. You know, we had a lot of new listeners to the show because you posted on your Facebook. So I appreciate that. And also on your Instagram, for people who want to follow you, where should they follow you?
It's just Rustin.Stewart. So the old one was Rustin_Stewart. This one's Rustin.Stewart. And in the next few weeks, get a little bit more time, start putting some more stuff up there. Right now, the profile, the post, the wall is empty, but I have been kind of getting back into putting up stories. So that's been kind of fun to do again. I've been missed from a few people that have told me that I'm friends with.
All right, and I'm B More 4 Photography. That's BEMOORE, the number 4. Photography. And for people who want to hit us up and send us voicemails, you can hit us at fromnyctothechi@gmail.com. That's FROMNYCTOTHECHI@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again. This has been another episode of the From New York to the Chi podcast. As we always say, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, y'all.